Starting YouTube live stream now.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. I don't want to get dinged for starting the meeting late.
Yeah, hang on while he's sending me the link, and then I'll post it live. And
Starting YouTube live stream now.
Okay.
all right, Marley and Faith are on now.
Okay, then we are good.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Like to call this meeting of the Swanton Board of Education order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, I'm going to bop back to my agenda. Okay, roll call, please, Joyce.
Sure. Ben,
Here.
Chris,
Here.
Dave,
Here.
was that Dave?
Joyce.
Okay. John,
Here.
Steve.
Here.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we sent out a request for hearing of the public and did not receive anything. So we'll move on to the adoption of the agenda as presented. Entertain a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Joyce?
Chris,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
and Steve.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Just quickly, my computer wigged for a second when you guys were doing roll call, so you did count me incorrect.
We saw your smiling face on the screen.
Beautiful. Okay, just want to make sure.
All right, Superintendent Lake, we're skipping board commendation.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, we'll move on then to the reports of the treasurer.
Okay, so under the reports of the treasurer, we have the minutes from the April 8th regular board meeting, as well as the minutes from the May 13th special board meeting, and those are out there for you to review. We have the financial statements as of April 30th, and those are out there for you to review as well. You will probably notice that there's more cash in the F&M account. I moved some extra cash from Red Tree due to some liquidity issues that we had there, and we may need some extra cash to get us through July and August, and possibly June. So we should have enough cash on hand to do that. The acceptance of donations, we just had a few donations from Box Tops and from Ohio Job and Family Services, so we appreciate that support. Letter D is an appropriation modification and estimated resource change, and that is due to the BWC School Safety Grant that we were awarded. We're using those funds to make some upgrades to a couple doors at the high school that need attention. So we'll be spending that money over the summer, and I'm asking for that to be approved. So those are the 4 items under reports of the treasurer, new business.
Okay, need a motion to accept items 3A through D as presented.
So moved. Ben.
Second, John.
Discussion? Okay, Joyce?
Dave, John,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
motion carries. Thank you.
Let's say, I'm sorry, I had it muted. I didn't know. I said aye.
Okay, thank you.
We read lips too, Dave.
Yeah. What did I say this time? No.
No. All right, moving on, reports of the treasurer, new business.
Okay, we have a couple things here. Some of it, I feel like we talked about a
Joyce?
lot.
Joyce, could you hold up 1 second? I'm having an issue here with the link. Just give me like 1 minute here.
Sure.
Hang on.
Hey Joyce, are schools eligible for lines of credit with bank?
Yes, we are able to borrow funds on a short-term basis. I don't think we will have to at this point, but that is something that we are allowed to do.
Is there any pre-work to that? Like, does it take a week or a month to get underwritten and approved for all that? Or is it just kind of like show up and we'll figure it out?
I've actually never done that. I know with the crisis that's going on right now with the economy.
Wow, I love how Brandon's just on this, but
Anyway, they are talking about, encouraging us as treasurers to look at our cash flow and are we going to need to borrow funds? So that's why I moved some of our cash that became liquid out of our investment accounts into our F&M account. So hopefully we won't have to do that.
Okay.
But I will be taking a better look at that here between now and our June board meeting.
Okay, Joyce, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, so under the reports of the new treasurer, or reports under the new business of the treasurer, we had a Swanton Health Insurance Committee meeting a couple weeks ago. And we did, the board doesn't need to approve, but we are taking a 10% increase in our health insurance. And so that was discussed at that committee meeting. But we also discussed the reason for the increase in our premiums is due to the high usage of our prescription claims. We have a lot of claims. There's some high cost prescriptions that are being used. Some of our neighboring districts have been experiencing this for the last couple of years, and now it's finally catching up with us. So besides taking the increase in the health insurance premiums, I'm also recommending that we increase the out-of-pocket limits just on the prescription insurance. So I think of myself as a high user of of the prescription, and I have prescriptions, my husband has prescriptions. So if we're a high user, we'll be the ones that'll be affected, or if we're a high dollar user. So this change that is being proposed here in letter A will impact less than 10 people, not families. I don't no idea if they're employees or family members. I have no idea, but we know there's less than 10 people who this will impact. And the committee seemed very favorable in making this adjustment. So we're going to be raising our out-of-pocket limits to $4,000 per person and $8,000 per family. The previous limit was $2,000 per person and $4,000 for a family. And so this is a change to the plan document. So that's why I'm asking for the board to approve this.
Okay, we doing these one at a time, Joyce?
Yes, please.
Okay. Need a motion to approve the Swanton Health Plan changes as presented. Hello?
This one's new to me. Have we got any feedback on this?
This was discussed at our health insurance committee meeting, and there were two board members that were present. So it was John and Steve, both participated in that. That health insurance committee also involves representatives from all three of our unions, as well as Laura Coleman, who works here in my office, and our broker through Stapleton. So as far as feedback, the feedback we have is from that committee. And because it impacts less than 10 individuals, and really it's not going to definitely offset the large increase in our prescription costs. It's a little bit will help.
Ben, there are actually 13 members in the committee, and they all were in attendance, a Zoom meeting a week ago Monday. So, I mean, everybody was there. So everybody had a say or input.
Okay. Well,
And I apologize for not letting you know this ahead of time. I apologize.
no, that's okay. I just was looking forward to the emails about the price hike, but if everybody's on the same page as that, I will so move that for you, Steve.
Why, thank you. A second, please.
I'll second, John.
Discussion.
Just a quick question. I know I read somewhere we're in negotiations, at least with the teachers. Is this going to, somebody wanted to, one side or the other wanted to extend the contract for at least a year with no changes. Is this going to throw a monkey wrench in all that, or?
I don't believe so, Dave. I mean, we had teachers sitting on the health insurance committee. I didn't get any follow-up after the committee that said, how dare you, or anything. So, you know, it's a small amount of the total funding that we're paying out for health insurance and for prescription insurance specifically. So I don't believe it's going to upset the apple cart with negotiations.
Is this, what was I going to say? Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. Blank thought here. I'll probably think of it in a second here.
That's fine.
Well, because technically we're changing the rules of the contract. That's why I was asking.
Well, we're changing the plan document for the insurance.
Right.
then-
Okay. Now I remember what I wanted to ask. Is this something that has to be done right now? I mean, as far as like May open enrollment or something like that, there's a time of the year it has to be done, or?
Well, the new plan starts technically probably September 1, but I just like to do stuff here in the spring. We've had our health insurance committee. I like to bring it to the board if we do have to make a change to the plan document. And all of our negotiated agreements have like a general statement that we will provide them health insurance that's provided through the plan document. I don't remember how many years ago we got a lot of that language, specific language about what's in or out of the health insurance, out of the negotiated agreements. The negotiated agreements include that we will meet twice a year with the health insurance committee. We have faithfully done that, at least as long as I've been here. Everyone gets an invitation. I think this is the first time, and Mr. Bramer or someone else can correct me, but this is the first time we had all committee members in attendance with this Zoom meeting. So I was a little nervous because I've never had so many people at a health insurance committee meeting. But so, I mean, they've all been invited and have had input and, you know, information about what's going on with the health plan.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, Dave, the percentage that they will pay of the premium doesn't change. It's just the amount, and it's being driven by the increase in prescription drug costs is what's driving that change. So the dollar amount paid will increase, but not the actual percentage of the total premium.
Okay, well, you see, what was my point was just we're changing our side, so to speak, on what you're offering them, so to speak, or you're changing the content. That was my thought. So,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Joyce?
John,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Dave,
Abstain.
and Steve.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now this is the next item here, honestly, is something I did not send you ahead of time. It was on my pile and I was like, it got buried. And as I'm going through my notes, I realized I needed to get this on the board agenda. This is our contract with Healthcare Process Consulting. They are the ones that manage and process our claims for Medicaid services that are provided to students. These Medicaid services at this point are being provided through employees at the Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center. So this would be for occupational therapy, physical therapy, nursing, psychologists. And there might be one more in there I'm missing. So those providers are recording their services and submitting those claims to Medicaid. They have no idea which students that they are providing services to are eligible for Medicaid services. So that's something that's done through the back end at Healthcare Process Consulting. I included on the agenda, and I know it's real small on our screen here, but if you look at, if you printed this out ahead of time, it gives you information about, we do get intermittent, usually monthly premium or dollars from Medicaid programming. And then after the year is over, then we start and do like a settlement, after the fact settlement. So over the last couple of years, we've received, $76,000, $78,000, $166,000 per year. And that's mainly from the settlement of prior years programming. And so we are, and I just received notification and I sent it back to the Ohio Medicaid School Program that we're going to get another $79,000 to settle up for the 2018 school year, 17-18 school year. So this has been a very good program in generating some additional dollars and offsetting some costs. So this contract for Healthcare Process Consulting is for $3,250 for the 2021 school year. And I feel like it's worth the money and generating some revenue for the district for the Medicaid services that are provided. So I'm asking the board to approve this contract. It is just a one-year contract.
A motion to approve item 3B.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Joyce?
Ben,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and Steve.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. The next topic on the agenda, I feel like we have been talking a lot about, which is the district's 5-year forecast. Let me just get my notes updated here on roll call. And I do have a presentation to put together. I did put together for this. So I think I can share that if that's, Fred. Okay, so I have to hit share screen and then I have to find my presentation and hit share from the beginning. There we go. All right, can everyone see my title page there for 5-year forecast presentation?
Yep.
Okay. So this is usually we always approve the 5-year forecast in the fall, which is now November. And then the May forecast is to be presented if there's major changes to the district's financial position. And this year we definitely have had some changes. Some of these slides are repeats, and that's on purpose, just to remind everyone that the 5-year forecast does include the general fund for the district. It includes 3 years of history. It includes the current year projections as well as 4 years projections. So that's what's in the forecast. And then I like to remind people what's not included in the 5-year forecast. It does not include any of the athletic funds. It does not include the cafeteria fund. We do get federal grant dollars, title grants, all kinds of 500 funds. Those are not included in the 5-year forecast. The money that we get for St. Richard is not included. The principal's funds, permanent improvement fund. We did do a transfer at last month's board meeting. So that is pulling that money off the 5-year forecast into the permanent improvement fund, and then the bond fund. The bond fund is funded by tax dollars, and that is not a part of the 5-year forecast. This year is a new fund, the Student Wellness and Success Fund, and that is not included in the 5-year forecast. This is a new funding that came from the state of Ohio. And in October, November, we talked about some of the things we were doing with that money. And as we wrap up the year, we'll probably give you all a summary of that because we are using it to offset some of our current programming. One of the things Chris and I had talked about was paying for the career coach that we're having at the middle school that's working with students half a day, as well as part of the cost for our high school guidance counselor that we added at the high school. So those are offsetting some of our current programming costs going forward. We can use it for new programs, and we also used it for a lot of some training and programs that we did here. And honestly, we're not even sure how long this funding is going to continue, especially in light of the reduction in the state revenues during this economic crisis. So just as a reminder, when you're looking at the financial summary report, this fund 467 is not part of the 5-year forecast. And then I also wanted to just include some other things that are not included and to let you know of some things that are happening outside of the general fund that are helping to provide programming for the school district and also helping to offset the funding or offset some of the expenses in the 5-year forecast. The CARES Act funding is a hot topic right now that's coming from the federal government. Our number is around $165,000 we're supposed to be getting. It's supposed to be coming to us through the CCIP program. I've looked a couple times, it's still not there, but we are supposed to be able to use some of that money for this year, or we can use it for next year for costs associated. One of the things I'm hoping that we can use it for is to offset a deficit in our food service fund. This is going to be the first year we're going to have a deficit. It could be anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000. So that would be a great use of that CARES Act funding. And then Mr. Lake and I have to talk a little bit more about what we're going to use that CARES Act funding for into the future. And then these other grants are some miscellaneous grants that came from some state resources. The Adams Board provided us with some funding. We're going to be using that next year, actually, but we actually have the cash already. And for some training and some programming about mental health training for our staff. The school safety training grant that was used, I think, in January. Mr. Lake will have to correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I think that's what we use that money for. The Ohio EPA grant, we use that to offset the cost of a propane bus that we purchased earlier in the fiscal year. And then SAC provided a grant for $5,000 for the Alpha program, and we've kept that as a separate state grant so that we could track those funds, and if we needed to do any reporting, we'd be able to do reporting on that. So we'll talk a little bit about the history, just the last 5 years. The dark purple line is the revenues, the light purple line is the expenditures. We worked very hard to be fiscally responsible and make good fiscal decisions to keep revenues and expenses, or keep revenues greater than expenses over the last several years. And of course, this does not include the transfers for the building renovations that we did here in fiscal 17. So we always take those transfers out to show what we actually did with our operations. So that's a little bit of our history. And as we look here at the future, this is a chart we've seen before in the fall. This is just a simplified statement for 17, 18, and 19. Again, these are actual numbers here of what's happened with our beginning cash balance. And here you can see we started with over $7 million, but we used quite a bit of that money to pay for the renovation of our building projects and the 2 buildings and the demolition of the Cherry Street building. So we did bring that, our cash balance was around $2.5 million. And then the fiscal 18, again, we had a little bit of a transfer, but we still have a positive cash flow. And then fiscal year 19, we had a positive cash flow as well. And again, just as a reminder, we did have a great community who supported our school district income tax levy in May of 19 and passed the school district levy. So we always are keeping an eye on this light purple line here. This is that positive or negative cash flow. And we've got a lot of red going on here on this line. So that's what we've been talking about a lot lately. And then for fiscal year 20, this is where we talk about the state funding cut by 4%. That's kind of caught us off guard. I was anticipating a cut for next year, but just wasn't expecting one quite yet this year. But that's what the governor has done. So that's what we're doing. So this year we're anticipating an operating deficit or a revenue deficit of 371,000. And then as we look at next year for fiscal year 21, we talked about what number do we want to put in for state funding reductions for next year. And I think we had a consensus, we wanted to put in 10%. So that's what I'm putting in the forecast. And again, it's a forecast, it's an estimate. I don't know what's going to actually happen. This is just our best guess at this point. So this forecast includes a 10% reduction in state funding. So we're going to have a deficit of $670,000, and we're drawing down our cash balance. And what we talked about last week a little bit, and what I tried to share was we could probably handle maybe a 1-year reduction, but for the fiscal year 22, I did keep that state funding flat at that lower amount. And then that may not be sustainable for us. We are really going to have to look at operations or additional levies or something if the legislature does not return our state funding to the level that it was. Looking at this cash balance across the bottom, around $2.5 million, that's about really where we need to be to have in that 60 days of cash. So on June 30th, if we end the year with $2.5 million, we have enough cash on hand to operate for around 60 days if we didn't get any more revenue. It feels like the road's coming to an end, but if we really did not get any additional cash into the district, we could operate for 60 days before we ran out of cash completely. And the state and the experts recommend we be in that 30 to 60 day range. So that's where we're going to end the year this year. We've been keeping our ducks in a row and trying to be wise with our decisions. So again, we're going to be okay for this year. Next year, going to be a little iffy. We'll see what happens. But if state funding doesn't return back to its levels that it has been, we are going to have to make some serious decisions. So I just want to be very clear about that. So I would ask you to reach out to your legislators about state funding and where we're going for the future.
Does that negative 371,000 include the 20% cut?
Yes. Yes, it does. We're going to talk a little bit about some detail here, Ben. I just kind of wanted to show a big overview and then get into some detail here. So hopefully this is helpful. And this is the forecast. This is what our November forecasted revenues were. We talked last month at the October, what month was that? April board meeting, what our revenues were. And this line 1.02 includes the money that came from Nexus. So that money is in here. And then our state funding. And in April, we didn't know about our reduction in state funding. So here you can see that reduction from 5.7 million down to 5.4, almost 5.5 million. So that's the reduction right there. Okay. Our income tax did get settled up here the end of April. So we are 2.5% over where we thought we were going to be. We're actually 5.8% over where we were a year ago. So that's a positive thing there. Okay. Any questions? Talking a little bit about school district income tax. In November, when we talked as a group, this is the trend lines for the 5-year for the school district income tax. We've had some very good luck. It's been kind of all over the place as to where our school district income tax actually came in. We're right around that 3% range that we usually have revenues come in by. And then for fiscal year 20, like I said, we are in November, I thought, we'll be around 3-ish%. And then I usually put in about 1% increases into the future. Again, just to show growth, but yet not be crazy and always expect so much growth. Now, this bottom chart here is where we are today. We know for fiscal year 20, which is this large line up, we're just under 6% growth. We're at 5.58% something in growth. 5.8, there it is, growth in our school district income tax. But with the economic shutdown for March, April, and part of May here, that's what we talked a little about last week was, what number do I put in there? I feel more comfortable putting in that 5% decline. I just think that's maybe where we'll be. I mean, it could be more, it could be less. Again, it's a estimate and it's a forecast. So again, but then after fiscal year 21 and putting in 22, 23, 24, around 0.5%, close to 1%. I guess it's more like 1% there. Again, that's what we've done before. So when we do talk in November about the 5-year forecast, and we'll be talking about it before November, but at that forecast for sure, we'll have 2 collections of the school district income tax in. And so we'll have a better feel for what's happening with the economy and how many people are back to work. Are there any questions about school district income tax? Are we still comfortable with 5% of a decline? Yeah, maybe. Okay. And then here's some detail about the expenditures. This is again what we read forecasted. These are not actuals, these are forecasts. In November, we are anticipating taking a premium holiday. And then as the year has gone on, we realized we really can't do a premium holiday because our prescription claims have been so high. Yes, we have some cash in that pot of money, but it is not, we don't want to drain it down to zero either. So we were trying to maintain that. So we're going to do we're not taking a premium holiday. And that amount of a change is $129,000 roughly, is strictly due to not taking that premium holiday. I did look a little bit at the purchase services. There wasn't a lot of things that we can really make changes on. Again, just because our main, the main things that are in purchase services, we have no control over: open enrollment tuition, community school tuition, educational service center fees for student services, LEAP fees for student services, and utilities. I think we're going to see some savings in utilities, but until it actually is done, it's hard for me to really predict that at this point. So, and then supplies and all that. So our expenses obviously are going up a little bit, again, primarily due to the no medical insurance premium holiday for this year. Okay. And then this line 5.04 is where the transfer shows up that we did last month at the April board meeting. Okay, so there's some detail there. I wanted to write out some expense assumptions just so everybody's on the same page. It does include base salary increases that have been agreed to in our union contracts. Yes, we are negotiating with our teachers at this point, so nothing's been decided, so nothing's included for future years. It also includes a tough decision to reduce staff by 3 positions for next school year, 2 teacher positions, 1 classified position. That classified position may have to come back depending on how the operations go for this school district for next year. But at this point, we're choosing not to fill that position. And that'll be more of a wait and see kind of a thing. The medical insurance premium is going up by 10%. And again, no premium holiday for this year that we're wrapping up. And also in the forecast, I'm not including a premium holiday for fiscal year 21. We're going to need that money to transfer from the general fund into the insurance fund to keep that solvent. Now, if things change throughout the next fiscal year, we can always take a premium holiday. But at this point, the 5-year forecast includes 12 months of insurance premiums. And then building and department spending is also being evaluated. And things are being put on hold as best we can. Okay. Purchase services, here I talked a little bit about ESC payments for students, LEAP payments for students, open enrollment, community school, scholarship payments, utilities, service contracts. Those are all things that are included in the assumptions. The one-to-one Chromebook, we did have some additional dollars we spent this current year. We replaced some Chromebooks that were at end of life for testing. Didn't need them for testing, it ends up, but we were getting ready for all of that. So we needed to be prepared. And then all the staff Chromebooks were also replaced earlier in the fiscal year. So those are expenses that were higher than expected. And as for the future, I just put this in lots of unknowns. We're doing the best we can to make educated guesses and to make good decisions and fiscal decisions. But there's just a lot of things we don't know at this point. So we ask for you to be patient with us and to let us know if you hear anything before us. We would appreciate that as much as possible. Thank you. This slide has been in a lot of five-year forecast presentations I've made. This is a commitment that the superintendent and I make to you as a board that, every staffing change is going to be reviewed to make sure we're providing the best service that we can to our students and to our community. We've been talking about declining student enrollment. Mr. Lake talked about, we have between our graduating seniors this year and our incoming kindergartners, we're at 30 or 33 kids difference. So it's going to start being even as in a few years, but right now there's still a deficit there. So we know that impacts our declining enrollment at this point. And then every outside service contract is being reviewed for pricing and services as best we can. So this is my last slide, and this is just a summary to say what's happening into the future. At this point, the five-year forecast includes the assumption that we're going back to school in the fall, and we're going to have all the costs for operating a school district that we have had this year, roughly. So, that includes as much staff as what we're going to need and everybody being on board. It does include the reduction of those 3 positions that we've talked about. Again, that classified position may need to come back depending on how the operations really end up. But at this point, we're not filling that position. The school district income tax is being reduced by 5%. State funding is being reduced by 10%. Again, this one is strictly an estimate. The school district income tax, I feel pretty confident about that number. And I have some data to back that up. But the state funding number is truly just an estimate based on some consultants that we've listened to, and they're looking at state funding and their state revenues coming in. And again, at this point, there's no CARES Act funding that's in the general fund. All indications that we've gotten is that when that money comes to us, that will not be in the general fund. That will be in a separate fund, a special cost center. So that is going to be separate. At this point, all expenses are in the general fund. So the general fund would be, some people would say, is being very conservative because I'm not taking out that $165 of expenses at this time. So that may help us down the road or for this year. So just so you know, that CARES Act funding may be able to offset some general fund expenses or hopefully a transfer that we may have to make here in June to the food service fund. And so that is the last of my slide. I did send you an updated email here today with the 5-year forecast. I think you've gotten, I feel like I sent you lots of information about the 5-year forecast, and maybe not, but that's just how I'm feeling. So if you have questions, I can try to help. I will do the best I can to explain what's in or out of the 5-year forecast, and I can even bring up some other documents here on my computer if there's some other documents you want to see.
Have you applied for the CARES Act money? I didn't know that was schools could get that.
It's coming through the state of Ohio, and then it's coming out to us based on our Title I allocations. They're using that as the way to divide it out among schools. So that, I think
So
I'm using the term.
It's not an average payroll expense like the business one was?
No, this is something completely different than that. This is not Payroll Protection Act money. So I haven't seen a lot of information about it. So I'm just telling you, we're supposed to be getting it. I've seen a spreadsheet. We're supposed to get $165,000, but I haven't actually seen it coming to us through the CCIP program.
Question, Joyce.
Yes.
You're right now, what you're just showing us tonight does not include the Nexus money for this upcoming. You have or you have not included any of the pipeline money in this?
The pipeline money, the revenue is included. The transfer out of the pipeline money has been removed. Good question.
Okay, well, no, what I'm getting at is that was a 270 whatever thousand. Okay, I don't know the exact number.
Mhm.
We put that into PI.
Mhm.
I'm talking about the next payment that they will be making. Is that in or not in this?
It is.
It is in here. Okay.
Yes. Yep. That is included in the second line of the 5-year forecast for public utility property, or I think it's called public utilities, personal property, something. It's the second line of the revenue. You know what? I can go back to that.
No, that's fine. I just, before we weren't including it. That's why I was asking if it was kind of like we were going to have, you know, all good. It's going to get us out of the hole, or if it's in there. That's what I was asking.
Yep, it's in there, but what I did remove was the transfer out into the future years. In April, we had talked about we wanted to transfer that pipeline money back out into the PI fund. After Chris and I, Mr. Lake and I spoke, and the consensus we kind of came up with was we're going to need that pipeline money to fund our operations for the school district.
Oh, agreed. Totally agreed.
So, yep, good question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? This isn't an action item, is it, Joyce? It's just info?
No, I do need action to approve the 5-year forecast as presented, and then I will submit that to the Ohio Department of Education. And that needs to be done by May 30th, May 31st.
So we need a motion to approve the 5-year forecast as presented.
So moved, Ben.
Seconded, Dave.
Discussion? All right, Joyce.
Chris,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. I do appreciate it. And as someone very wise said last week, it is just a forecast. So we will do our best to keep you informed.
It's the beard, Joyce.
Is it? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Knowledge comes with the beard. All right. Reports, recommendations to the superintendent, new business.
Good evening, everyone. First item on the agenda, we have a presentation by some members of the 8th grade class at Swanton Middle School. They reached out to me a couple weeks ago and said that they would love to have some time to present to the board on their experience in the junior high that they've had here over the last couple of years, especially with all the changes in the house system and everything else. So I will invite the students. Emma Crow is the one who reached out to me. I'm not sure if she was able to stay on. I believe she had to hop off here to take part in something for the Amazing Shake. But Sydney, if you're still there, I'll turn it over to you guys and let you present to the board.
Yes, Emma is still here.
Oh, there she is.
Thank you, Mr. Lake, for letting us be on this meeting. We really, really appreciate it. And the members of Swanton Board of Education, thank you for having us today. We really appreciate it. My name is Emma Crow. I'm an 8th grader at SMS and also a student leader. I'm here with some of my other student reps, and unfortunately, Faith got kicked off because her computer was not being nice to her, so someone will be reading her piece for her. But I'm on here with the other student reps, and we requested to speak today on behalf of all the SMS students. Unfortunately, you can't hear all the outstanding, heartfelt, memorable, and touching moments that Mr. Smith and Ms. Pankos have provided for all their students, and that is why we are here today. Ultimately, to say thank you and to reminisce the wonderful things we've done the wonderful things they've done for their students. As we leave SMS, we are not just pupils in a brick wall building, but we truly are the 98 sons and daughters that Mr. Smith and Ms. Pankos never had. The 6 of us each collaboratively decided to pay our gratitude to Mr. Smith and Ms. Pankos on how they've impacted us in some way. Sit back, relax as you hear why these two administrators truly are the peanut butter and jelly that holds our school together. Also, I'm sorry in advance for any tears. Some of us got really, really personal and we wanted to share these stories with you. So, to Mr. Smith, I remember the night of the Amazing Shake dinner. We were told that the top 3 would be announced that night. We must all attend the dinner. Anxiety and frustration immediately rose up for me. I had basketball practice that night. This was on a Thursday, and of course I had a tournament that weekend. I could not miss practice. I couldn't be benched. Later that day, Mr. Smith pulled me into his office, and at that moment, he wasn't my principal. He was a coach. He looked at me and said, "Emma, I know you work hard. I've seen you work your butt off. I know athletes like you who hate to miss practice or hate to miss a rep. I've coached amazing kids just like you. But please understand, missing one practice will not put you behind. You work hard, and tonight is just as important as basketball is to you." I sat in his office in disbelief. I knew he was right. He's always right. We talked about some of his players and how he's helped them grow and play at the collegiate level. It was the most meaningful conversation I've ever had, and I will never forget it. That talk only grew my connection with him more. I left his office and went to the dinner that night. At the dinner, it was revealed that I did in fact get placed in the top 3. And while I'm talking with you all today, I'm participating in the virtual online National Amazing Shake competition. And I wouldn't be able to do that without Ms. Pankos and Mr. Smith's support. And we also got first place in my tournament that weekend. Thank you, Mr. Smith. You taught me something in your office that I don't think I'd ever receive without having the conversation. I'd now like to pass it on to my esteemed colleague and friend, Luke Arnold.
Thank you, Emma, for that wonderful introduction. So, hello, Mr. Smith and Ms. Pancoast. Like everyone here with me and myself, I want to say my thank you and gratitude for all have you done to SMS in my middle school years. Without you guys, my 3 years here at SMS wouldn't have gone so fast and so exciting as it was. Thank you for the great opportunities that made some of the best memories that I had in a long time. One of the best memories that I had in middle school was when we got to go to Worthington Industries. I remember all the people that we got to meet, and I hope that they remember me as well. I remember when we got to present our charities that we've chosen, and I got to even go visit the charity myself. I want to say thank you for that opportunity and many others before and after that day. Thank you so much for making SMS the best it can be. Now I'm going to hand it off to Sydney so she can tell her thank you for all that you guys have done.
Hi, my name's Sydney, so I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. Mr. Smith and Ms. Pankos, as the others have stated, I'd also like to say thank you. Without the two of you, silly moments that bring goofy grins onto our faces wouldn't be possible. You both are very extraordinary principals that show a great deal of passion in all that you do for us. There are a number of remarkable principals all around the world, and all of them have created such deep and meaningful connections to their students like the two of you have. You have impacted our lives in more ways than we could possibly know. Ms. Pankos, you've been there for me since day one. I still remember being a nervous and jittery mess before the last round in our Amazing Shake. And when I asked you for a hug, you showed no hesitation and pulled me in, offering me words of encouragement. You gave me that extra boost of confidence to get on stage and talk to my heart's content. And Mr. Smith, you're such an inspiring role model to every student and staff member that walks into SMS. You always hold such a contagious positivity about everything. And although we can sometimes be unbearable, you are never one to hold that against us. Instead, you're always the first one to offer advice and kind words. Both of you have always run the school with such open-mindedness. You've taught us to always push for change when we deem something unfavorable. I hope you continue to lead the school the same way for many years to come. If so, I'm confident that this next generation will be the strongest yet. You have provided not only me, but the rest of middle school kids so many amazing opportunities that wouldn't be a possibility without your hard work. You and all the kids at Swanton Middle School have slowly become my adopted family throughout the years. You've been something to look forward to every time I walk into school. You've helped me grow so much as not only a student, but as a person. Because of that, it pains me so much to have to say goodbye to the family I've come to love at middle school. So I won't. Goodbye makes it sound like you won't ever see us again, but you can't get rid of us that easily. So instead, I'll leave you with till we see each other again, because this definitely won't be the last time. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to our one and only wonderful Marley Purdy.
Hi guys. I'm apologizing right now because I have my screen up here, so I'm going to be looking back and forth. I'm going to start this by saying that my years at Swanton Middle School have definitely been a roller coaster. I've had my ups and downs, that's for sure. But one thing that always kept me together is the fact that when I walk into that building, I feel like I'm home. Every morning as I walked into school, I was welcomed with open arms and smiles. And as I sit here and read this to you all, two particular smiles come to mind. The smiles of Mr. Smith and Mrs. Pancoast. Those two people have made the biggest impact on myself and my mentality, and there's absolutely no way that I can thank them enough. They have taught me that I can do anything that I put my mind to, and that every single day is a good day. They were always there to boost my self-confidence and push me to be my best. To end this, I have one of my favorite quotes that I would like to share. This quote never fails to remind me of the middle school and everything that these two awesome principals have taught me. Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Babe Ruth. I used it because it truly reminds me of all the opportunities that I have gotten and how much I have learned at the Swanton Middle School. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Pancoast. I can easily say to you that the culture of the middle school has changed my life for the better. And now, I would be passing it on to my friend Faith Butler, but I have to read it because her Chromebook's having problems, as Emma mentioned before. So Faith says, I'd like to thank Mrs. Pancoast and Mr. Smith for making my middle school years incredible. I'll never forget my years here, especially the support I felt from the two of you. You guys are fantastic principals, and I admire the way you've always reached out to your students. No matter the situation, you've always been there and made sure that we knew that we were both available if we ever needed anything. If we ever needed anything. The expectation was never unattainable. If something got too hard or overwhelming, I always knew that I could stop and talk to you guys. Opportunity has never been lacking at SMS, and no student could leave thinking that they weren't given the tools or option to succeed. These opportunities and constant support are what make the school such a positive place. Never once will you walk out of Swanton Middle School with a frown on your face. I know personally, mornings are rough. I'll walk into class thinking that the day is already doomed to be bad, but my second period, I'm smiling and laughing with everyone else. I'll always remember the community I felt here, and I hope to bring the same feeling with me in the high school. Things might change, school years will come and go, but thanks to Swanton Middle School and our amazing principals, I will never forget the lessons I learned and had as a student. Thank you guys for all you've done. I'm going to miss you bunches. We also had another student, Mika Levin. She didn't want to get on the meeting because she thought it would be too emotional for her, so she asked one of us to read it for her. So she'd always been our strong closer, so we asked her to close this. And obviously, as always, she wrote beautifully. So Mika says, before this close, I want to thank you as well. Thank you to the Board of Education for being on the board with all the SMS ideas, and thank you to Mr. Smith and Ms. Pancoast for coming up with the greatest events in history. Thank you for all the memories shared, the laughs, the stories told, the inside jokes, and letting us be your friend. Thank you for always being positive, keeping a smile on your face, and taking your students to victory, no matter the case. Thank you for the high fives and the fist bumps that lifted my day every day. And even though I never got to meet them, I want to thank Metaphor Man and Simile Girl for keeping the streets of SMS safe. But the real question, who is Sapentia Man? The world will never know. Thank you for the best 3 years of my life, where you both taught me so much. Things I'll never forget, no matter how old and wrinkly I'll get. Whether it be social skills to basketball or cartwheels to math problems, I owe you both so much of who I am now to you. Thank you. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you guys so much for having us. It was an honor. And thank you so much, Mr. Smith and Ms. Pancoast. We appreciate you guys so much. And these words that we've written, they don't explain how much you guys mean to us.
Thank you, all of the students. Matt and Lee, if there's ever a question of why you do what you do, that should answer the question for both of you. So a very stirring and very powerful testimonial. And again, students, thank you very much for stepping up and sharing your feelings.
Yep. Ladies, gentlemen, that was wonderful. Just to echo Mr. Bramer, you know, this is why we do what we do. And you guys have done a great job. And for anybody who might be watching, I mean, this is why teachers do what they do. And this is why this whole thing has been so hard on us, because how can you not want to see those faces every single day? And having to do this online, you know, it's stirring to see them talk, but not being able to do it in person is very tough on all of us. But you guys, wonderful job. You're wonderful leaders, and take that with you as you go to the high school. Matt, Lee, any comments before they go off to do something more fun than watch a board meeting?
Not sure what to say. That was a surprise. I did not know that was going to happen. So let me try to gather some words here. Yeah, just they will be missed more than they know. I'm not sure I have the words right now, but you know, we certainly love those kids, and wish we could have ended it a little bit different. But those are amazing kiddos, and you know, I think Sydney said it. It's not goodbye. It's just see you for now. So they're gonna do wonderful things. Jason and Tony are in for a treat with this class. So it's not about Lee and I. It's about Swanton Middle School. The staff there has embraced a lot of crazy things that we've brought to them, and they've said yes every time. And I think it's been a good thing. So.
Ditto. You guys are awesome. You guys definitely hold a special place in our heart. I'm out of words. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you again.
Great job, gang. Great job. Okay, jumping into the rest of my agenda. Few voting items for you here this evening. I have items B through H. You can take these in any way that you might like. Item B is just some Neola updates. I met in the middle of last month with our Neola representative and just went through several of our policies that just needed a little bit of tweaking due to some changes coming out of Columbus. So I had sent you all the link to preview those if you had any questions about any of that. Item number C is, or letter C, sorry, you can tell I'm not a math person. Letter C is, this is a shared savings agreement with Gardner. I mentioned this last week at our special board meeting. We have a contract with Gardner right now. They're doing our HVAC kind of routine maintenance stuff on our systems. This agreement we would enter into with them. They would essentially monitor all three of our buildings 24/7, the HVAC systems, in order to identify areas where we could make some changes basically remotely using the computer control system to get the system to be much more efficient and in the process save us money. This is a 3-year agreement. As it is a shared savings agreement, it doesn't involve any upfront money from the district. Instead, any savings generated, we would be splitting that with Gardner, with the larger portion of the share going to the school district over the next 3 years. And again, they are estimating that we could potentially save as much as $50,000 a year. And that split would mean that $27,500 of that would come to the school district. The other $22,500 would go to Gardner, which is actually what they charge if we were to pay for the service up front. So we feel like it's a good deal for us. It'll get our systems operating more efficiently and hopefully get some more life out of the systems that we have. And obviously at this time in economic situation, saving money is really what it's all about. Item D, This is a contingency plan resolution. This is from Neola. What this will do is we have a board policy that allows for, if you remember the old blizzard bags from a few years back when we had a couple of bad winters in a row and they wanted schools to make up time and said they could use blizzard bags. Well, our board policy says that we can have 3 such days a year. And obviously we've had a lot more than 3 days of remote learning. So this policy essentially says that for this time, it's acceptable for us to count these days where we've been doing remote learning through the internet and other resources as acceptable for school days. Item E is, in addition to the 2020 graduates, we had one more student qualify for graduation. His name was not on the previous list that the board approved back in April, so we need to add that. Item F is just a couple course updates for the course planning guide for Swanton High School. Item G, the girls are hoping that they will be able to go to an overnight volleyball camp trip. I believe that is scheduled in July. The way things are opening up, it seems like that might still be possible. And then finally, item F, we have personnel, just a few personnel items up for all of you to consider. So again, you can take those as a group or one at a time or however you'd like to address those. But I need voting on items 5B through H tonight.
Okay, fellow board members, is there anything in there that you would like us to take individually? If not, then I would entertain a motion for items 5B through H.
Ben, so moved.
Steve, second. Discussion?
I have a question. Let's see. Okay, on personnel, there's a line for a grounds for the school year. I think it's like the first. And yes, I can't hardly see this.
Grounds maintenance?
Let's see. Yeah, I think that's the one. I'm just asking, it looks like, is that a new position? I mean, it's something I know we've always hired summer custodial, summer for mowing and all. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Are you looking at for Jim Robinson or Richard?
No, for Robinson, and I don't even know the man, so I hope nobody takes that I'm singling him out. That's not the case. I was just looking at that and seeing it almost looks like it's a new position. I don't recall us ever having.
No, it's not really a new position. It's a change in classification for Jim. He's been a sub grounds maintenance sub for probably the last 6 or 7 years. We're just moving him over to the contracted status. We do the same thing with Jeff Betts every year as well.
With who?
Jeff Betts. He's been a contracted grounds maintenance person for quite a while as well. So it's just a change in terms of classification for Jim. But he's been with us for quite a while, actually.
Oh, I knew he's with us quite a while. I've heard the name. I've heard people talk of him. And like I said, absolutely nothing against the man. It looked as if that was a new position. I've never seen it. He's usually hired for summer mowing and summer grounds maintenance. It's just, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, it's the same. He'll be doing the exact same thing. He'll still be working on grounds and mowing. Same number of hours and everything. It's just it's under the contract as opposed to the as working as a sub. It changes his pay rate a little bit.
And just so you know, Dave, those 2 positions are only paid as needed and they only work as needed. So they turn in timesheets and that's what we pay off of.
Okay, well, it says 20 to 25 hours a week, as if it was a part-time position is what I was. Because I know in the summertime they work by whatever hours they're needed. So I guess that is part of the reason I asked the question. So, okay, thank you.
They also are responsible for lining athletic fields, correct?
Yes, that's correct. They do all the lining as well.
Okay, yeah, and that football season, all that. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Like baseball diamonds, soccer fields, they do it all.
Right, the custodians used to do all that. Okay.
Any other discussion? Joyce?
You're ready for roll call?
I'm so ready.
Okay. Dave,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Building reports. It's been a while since we've seen you all. It's good to see each and every one, and hopefully all is going well for you and your families. So I don't imagine there's a lot of building reports to go, but we'll open it up. Let's go elementary. Anything?
Nothing new to report that's not already on the building report, but I just want to thank again my staff who has been working hard over this fourth quarter to keep kids engaged, help parents, support parents, making the quick transition from seeing kids face to face to working with them remotely. We got everything bagged up and packed up for pickup, and that was a good success. And we're just wrapping up the school year and trying to plan for next. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, thank you. Middle school, after that speech from the kids, there ought to be one heck of a speech here.
Yeah. That was very nice. Those kids are amazing. They really are. And they give us far too much credit. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to add. I agree with Christy. The staff has been amazing. This is obviously all new. We stopped giving new assignments, last week, but like now is we've had a lot of calls like, hey, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Like last minute. And there's a lot of scrambling going around. And honestly, our staff has been working harder than ever, and they probably will up until next Friday to try to make sense of all this and grades and whatnot. It's been a challenge, but they've really stepped up. I've got a lot of appreciation. I've been back in the classroom, I feel like, because I've been teaching a first and third grader on a lot of mornings as we're doing all this, and it's not great. It's hard. And I can only imagine what a lot of parents are going through when they're trying to, virtually work, or they're at class. I know we have a lot of students that are literally taking care of their elementary siblings and trying to do the work that we're giving them. And it's, this is not ideal. This is not the way that we should be doing things, but it's the way that we have to do it right now. So, a credit to our parents and a credit to our staff and students for buckling down and doing a really good job. If you guys get a chance, Emma and Sydney that spoke tonight, they are going to find out tonight if they get to move on in the Global Amazing Shake tonight. I think they're going to announce that around 9 or 9:30 on the Ron Clark Academy Facebook page. So it's really cool. Those ladies have been taking part in that global competition this past week. So it's really cool. They were set to go to Atlanta. Unfortunately, COVID-19 happened, and now they're kind of doing it through Zoom meetings like we're doing right now. But they've done a great job, and hopefully they continue to move on after tonight. So it's down to the top 100. I think they started with 400 kids or so. So, Lee, anything else?
Tomorrow night is the awards night. So we're going to be doing a broadcast Facebook at 6 p.m. Just some awards. Can I ask everybody to do a a cheer on for Sydney and Emma while I video it so I can tweet it out on the Ron Clark video or Ron Clark Twitter page? Would everybody be willing to do that?
Sure. What are you looking for?
You just go like, woo, like that.
Okay.
A hype
Okay.
video. Hang
Gotcha.
on. I'll say action. So turn off your mute. Ready? Action.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you.
Okay, high school, Mr. Longbright, Mr. Mena.
Not much, just trying to get everybody to graduate, Mr. Bramer.
How we doing on that?
I think we're doing pretty well. So hope to see everybody at graduation on Sunday if you can make it. You don't have to stay all day. That'll be a long affair, but we're excited for it. I think it'll be a good time. So pray for no rain. Rain or shine, it's going to happen. So it'll be a good day.
All righty.
And Jason, don't forget, we're putting together a video. We recorded speeches the other day, June 3rd at Field of Dreams Drive-In. Is that correct? What time does that start, guys? Is that 8 o'clock?
Yeah, 7:30, 8 o'clock, the doors open. The actual viewing starts at dark, so around 9:15.
Okay, and the video is going to be about an hour long. Joe Nye is putting that together for us. We appreciate that. So
What night did you say that was, Chris?
June the 3rd, Wednesday, June 3rd.
Wednesday, June 3rd. In fact, our valedictorian and salutatorian, who hopefully you saw, TV13 did a great story on them last week on the Bergman twins. They've been working with Chief Berg and the Swanton Police, and they're working on putting together kind of a car procession for the seniors on the night of the 3rd so that they can do that. And then hopefully they can all travel together to go check out the movie. And we're really excited. It's just another, we'll be taking pictures from graduation and putting them in the video, and, you know, just trying to give the kids some semblance of what a ceremony would look like. They can get together and honk their horns and have a good time. So Tony,
we did post the academic awards tonight on the school's website, and then Ashley's going to try to post it because Brandon's having a little trouble with Facebook. Ashley's going to post it on the Facebook page as well. So the academic awards will be up for people to watch.
Yep. And I actually did watch that earlier tonight, Jason. So you did a good job there. And Matt, they're doing theirs tomorrow. So, you know, got to give credit to really, like they've said, the admin team, the teachers, everybody's really been pulling hard to try to finish up this year. And we just really hope that we have kids in our buildings in front of our teachers in the fall. That's what we're going to be planning for. And we're going to do our best to make that happen. So thank you.
I think the only other one that's here is Brandon. Anything, Brandon?
We've just been doing our very best to support everybody remotely, and all these different meetings we're holding, and you know, posting stuff to Facebook, Twitter, helping with recordings, getting everything out to kind of wrap up the year. And then we're gearing up to work on the security project and our E-rate Wi-Fi project over the summer. So we're just kind of trying to plan our summer out and finish off the year strong. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Comments or statements from board members?
I just wanted to thank again Emma, Luke, Sydney, and Marley. They did a great job, which speaks volumes of Matt and Lee and the job they're doing at the middle school. It was very nice to see that tonight.
I agree. I would be remiss if I did not say on behalf of the school board that we cannot express how appreciative we are of the administrative team that we have, the teachers that we have in place, the support staff that works alongside all of you. I know if you dwell on Facebook, you'll find out that there's a lot of disgruntled people out there about no matter what we do. But I want to tell you that on behalf of the board, you guys have gone above and beyond. Your staff has gone above and beyond. And our community, our school district is lucky to have you. And so you don't hear it very often, but please understand that I know, in talking to all the other board members, that we appreciate what you've accomplished this year. We didn't miss a beat. We're like a Timex. We took a licking and kept right on ticking. And so to all of you, thank you, and continue. Like I said, we're blessed to have the administrative team we have. So hang in there, and look forward to many more years.
Thanks, Steve. That's very kind.
I can second that, and I can't do any better than what he already said, but thank you all again.
Yep, thank you.
Is there any need for executive session? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
No discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for attending the meeting.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.